Hi all, welcome to C Programming Fundamentals. Today we are going to build something special, that is a basic calculator that can add, subtract, multiply and divide. So by the end of this video, you will understand how to take user input, make decisions in your code and create interactive calculator. So before we start coding, we just have to see what a simple calculator demonstrates. It demonstrates several key concepts like functions, loops, conditional statements, and user interactions. Don't worry if you are completely new to programming. We'll see it line by line. So here I am using a GCC compiler. So to start writing a program, I will use my gedit command, gedit, and I'll give my program name. So since I am doing a calculator program, I'll write it as calculator.c. So the first command which I use in my terminal is gedit calculator.c. So it will open a text editor where I can start writing my program. So let's start with the skeleton of a program. First, we should always include the standard input output library. So that will be hash include stdio.h. So this is something that tells a compiler to include functions like printf, which we use to print something on the screen, and scanf, which we use to read from the keyboard. So if you want to use this printf and scanf statement, we should always tell the compiler by making use of this statement, that is hash include stdio.h. The next thing what we have to do is our program should always have a main function. So here I am writing an int main. So this means that our main function returns an integer value. So it can be void main or anything, right? So but my program, since I'm going to return an integer value, I'm going to give it as int main. And here also in this program, so when I start writing an int, I just open that bracket, that is the body of my program, and here inside this maybe I can write it as a return 0, right? So this return 0 tells the operating system that our program has ran successfully, right? So what we are going to do in this main function, so inside this main function, the first thing we need to do is that we should declare the variables. So when we declare the variables, what we are telling, we are telling the compiler I'm going to use some variables, and each of these variables is of different data type, right? So what I will do is I will write my variables as float. So I'm going to give it as float number 1, number 2 and result. So why I'm using float? Because I need to handle decimal calculations too. So if I don't give float, if I give just integer, what happens is I can handle only integer calculation, but if I use float, I'll be able to do decimal calculation also, right? So I've given 3 variables. One is num1 for the number 1 and num2 for the number 2, and result is for storing the result of the calculation which I'm doing. The next thing what I'm going to declare is I'm going to specify my operator. So I'm specifying it as character and giving the variable name as operator. So I'm telling the compiler saying I'm going to use a variable called as operator, which is of character type, right? So next we will start get into the inputs. So when we give input to this particular program, so if we should first prompt to the user saying what the user has to do, right? So for that I will use a statement called as printf. So printf is used basically to display something to the user, so that user understand what step he or she has to take. So I'm going to give it as printf enter the first number, and I'll give a colon and a space and close this, right? So this statement will be given to the user, and what user has to give, user has to enter a number, right? So when the user enters, user will be entering it as a floating point number. So I'm giving scanf %f and I'm giving it as ampersand num1. So this is going to be my number 1. So this I have taken it here. So next you can decide what you want to give, whether you want the user to enter the second number first and then the operator, or maybe as we generally do. So when we do a calculation, we do a first, we give a first number, then we give an operator, then we give the second number. So same way also we can do it here. So what I will do is I will ask with the user to enter the operator. So which operation the user has to do. So I'm giving multiple options here. I'm asking the user can enter a plus, that is for addition, a minus for subtraction, a star for multiplication, and a slash for division. So these are the things which I am asking the user to enter. So the user will be entering it as a character, right? So we can give it as percentage C, and I can specify it as an operator. Fine. So one more thing here, when we use this percentage C, it is always better to give as extra space here after the double quote, because in case if there is a white space character which is left in the input buffer, that can be avoided. That is, for example, when we give it, in case if there is an extra space there, or by mistake user does an enter key or something, it can be avoided. So for that, it's always better to give a space before this percentage C. So when we execute the program, I'll just demonstrate you what difference does it make. So right now I have taken the operator. Next I'll ask the user to enter the second number. So enter the second number, and I will use a scanf to read that. So I'll use it as percentage F. It is my num2, right? So these details has been taken, right? So we'll look through it. So I've written a hash include std.h, which is basically for my printf and scanf. Then I'm having my main function. Inside the main function, I have two statements for declaration. The first line will tell about I'm declaring three floating point variables, that is num1, num2, and result, and one operator which is of character type. And after that, I am prompting the user to enter the first number. So when the user enters it, I will take it as a floating point number, that is I take it to a variable called as num1. After that, I'll ask the user to enter an operator which can be either plus, minus, star, or slash. When the user enters it, I'll take it as an operator, and as I told, better to give a space before this percentage C. And again I'll prompt the user to enter the second number, and when the user enters it, I'll take it as num2, right? So next, when the user enters any of this, I need to do a decision, right? So to take care of this particular decision, it is better that we use a switch statement. So I will start writing my switch statement. So I'll write it as switch, and the variable is operator, because whatever the user has entered will be coming to this operator variable, right? So I'll give a tab space so that you'll understand, like that particular indentation. So my first operator which the user might enter is plus, so that I am giving in case 1, and I am specifying. So if the user is entering case 1, what I have to do? I have to do an addition, right? So to do an addition, this is my statement. So I'm going to write result, that's a variable which we have already given here, result equal to num1 plus num2 semicolon. So once I get this, then the operation is done. So I have added num1 and num2 and stored into result. So this has to be printed back to the user. So I'll give it as printf. So when I print this, I want to display my integer as well as my decimal part. So what I'll do is I will give it as percentage point to f, which means that 2 decimal points has to be displayed when it is displaying the output, right? So similarly I'm giving percentage point to f plus percentage point to f equal to percentage point to f. So here I am going to give the value. So first percentage to f should be replaced with num1, the second one should be replaced with num2, and third one should be replaced with num3, sorry, result, right? So here when I am giving this percentage, what it does is it automatically replaces with whatever I had given here. So I've given it like this, percentage to f, so percentage point to f, which will be replaced with num1, percentage point to f, the second one will be replaced with num2, and the next percentage point to f will be replaced with result. So after this I give a break statement, which means that I have to come out of this particular loop, that is from the switch statement it has to come out. Okay, so next, so if I had given the case plus, similarly I'm going to give the case for minus. So case minus, so same set of statements I'll write, result equal to num1 minus num2, and I'll write printf, same thing, so percentage point to f minus percentage point to f equal to percentage point to f, and I'll give a slash in because while printing it will move to next line. So I am replacing first percentage to f with num1, second with num2, and the third one with result. Okay, done. So again I am going to break it here. So next I am going to write the case for multiplication, the same set of statements. So result equal to num1 star num2, printf percentage point to f star percentage point to f equal to percentage point to f, closing with a slash n, replacing those with num1, num2, and result. So my first three cases are over, that is plus, minus, and star. I should give a break here. Okay, next come with my slash, right? So here think about one case, like when we give this slash, there can be a possibility of an user giving 0 as a number 2. So when we give 0 as a number 2, there can be a problem, right? So division by 0, it will create a mathematical error, so that should be avoided. So what you can do is, maybe at this stage, for example, when the user is giving an operator as slash, maybe you can check whether the number 2 which the user has entered is 0 or not. If it is 0, then you can skip it from there. If it is not 0, then you can do the operation, right? So what I'll do is I'll write a statement inside this. So I'm going to write, if number 2 is not equal to 0, then let it do the operation. So what is operation? Similar like the previous statement. So result equal to num1 slash num2, printf double quotes percentage point to f slash percentage point to f equal to percentage point to f, closing with the slash n, replace the first one with num1, second one with num2, and third one with the result, right? So next what I will do is, I opened this if statement, right? So I have to close this. So what I will do is, I will close this if statement. So if the number is not equal to 0, then this operation is done. Else what I should do, I should specify that also, right? So else it has to print saying like it's an error, and what have we done there? It is a division by 0 error, right? So that has to be printed to the user, and closing of that else condition and giving a break statement. So hope you understood what we have done extra in this division case. That is, if the user is giving a slash, then we have to confirm like the user has not given the number 2 as 0, because if it is given as 0, then the mathematical error can occur, right? So for that reason, what we are doing is we are giving one more check. We are looking whether the number 2 is not equal to 0. If it is not equal to 0, do the specific operations. Else we have to print back to the user saying, right, what we have done is we have done a division by 0. So after this we can give a default statement. So when the default statement will execute, so default will execute if you are giving the operator other than this 4. So I had given the choice for plus, minus, star and slash. So other than this, if the user enters anything else, then I have to print this message. So I have to print it as error. So I'll give it as invalid operator. Invalid operator. I'll end it with slash in. And I'll close this. So switch statement is closed. And I will close my main also, right? So this is done. So hope I had given all the conditions here. So we'll just run and see this program. So I'll just save this. I'll close and come back to my terminal. So to compile this, I have to use GCC. I have to give my program name calculator.c. Oof. So there are a few errors here. So we will see the error one by one. So what are the errors here? So it is telling in line number 8, missing terminating closing bracket. Cool. Okay. So what we will do is we'll go to the program. So line number 8, yes. So what are we missing? We are missing a double quotes here. So I'll save and again I'll compile and check this. There are other 2 errors also. So there is expected identifier before return 0. So I'll come back to my program. Okay, so here I had given a closing bracket there, so that's why we got an error. So that is done. I'll save. Again I'll compile this. Okay, so this is done. So how do we get the output for this? So I can write it as ./a dot out. Okay, cool. So I'm getting the prompt. So enter first number. I'll enter it as 10. The second number, it's asking for the operator, right? So I'll give it as plus. The second number I'll give it as 20. So it will give 10 plus 20 equal to 30. So my program is automatically, it is terminating there, right? So if you want this program to run for continuously, like until I give a different option, maybe you can use a loop there. So different looping statement can be used. So we will go back to our program and or what we will do is maybe we'll check with other operations here. Okay, so again I'll go to ./a.out. I'll give first number as 20. I'll give a slash. We'll check with that condition. I'll give a 0. Oof, yes, so I'm getting an error, that is division by 0. So my program is working fine. Okay, if you remember, I told about giving a space when we are using our operator, right? So what we will do is I'll just remove the space. So when we wrote this scanf, I had given this extra space, right? So I'll remove the space and I'll save and I'll again execute. So we can see what happens. So whenever we make changes, we should make sure that we are using the GCC again to compile our program. So I go for GCC. I go for ./a.out. So first number I'll give it as 10. Oof. So you can see what happened here. So enter the operator and enter the second number together, it is coming. So it will not allow me to enter, maybe just see, I'm going to enter a plus and giving a 2. So it's selling invalid operator, right? It's not allowing me to do that. So what happens is that extra white space or whatever is there, automatically it is considered there. So that is why I told, like whenever we use an operator, or especially when we use that %c, we should use a space before that. So we'll go back to gedit and add that extra space here, added here. I click on save, close this, come back and compile and check for ./a.out. First number is 30, second number is slash. Okay, sorry, so the operator is slash and the second number is 2. When I'm giving, I'm getting 30 divided by 2, 15, right? So it is working fine. So as I mentioned earlier, so what happens is every time this keeps on exiting, right? So only one operation we are able to do, or one action we are able to do. But if you want our calculator to do this particular action until we tell that calculator to stop, maybe we can give a looping statement, so that is also possible. So we will try to do that. But before that, I just want to show you one more thing. Like right now, when we do this dot slash a dot dot, what happens is the previously compiled one is coming, right? But you can also use something like this. I can use a minus o operator and save it to something called as calc. So what I'm doing is, when I'm compiling it, I can save it or this compiled one to a file called as calc. So when I give gcc calculator.c, that's my program name, minus o, that's an option, that is the output should be saved to a file called as calc. So when I press on it, it is coming. So now instead of dot slash a dot out, I can directly call dot slash calc. So you see, you'll be getting the same thing. So if you do it like this, it is always possible for us to call our program at any point in time. Maybe if now I'm doing for calculator program, after that maybe I'll do for another 5 10 other programs, right? So when we use dot slash a dot out, it usually executes the previously compiled one. But when I save it like this, or when I use gcc and give this minus o option, what happens is my code will be saved into that specific file name which I had given. So whenever at any point in time I call dot slash calc, only my calculator program will be working. Okay, so this is one thing which you can do. So I'll just enter the values here and check. It's giving me the same output, right? Okay, so now what we'll do is we'll try to add a loop to this particular program. So I'll go back to the gedit. So when we have to do this is, that is when we are going to ask the user to enter the first and second number, right? So here what I can do is I will enter, or I will give a do statement. Okay, so this will slightly make some modification like this, just giving an indent so that we'll be able to understand like what we have done. So I'm just giving indent for each of this, so it will allow me to see like how many brackets or parentheses I have opened, everything is working fine or not. Okay, cool. Okay, so do is given here, so my do is here, so switch I have started here and I have closed it here, right? So after this I can give my while statement. So I'm giving it as okay, so I can give it as choice, but this choice is not declared, right? So what we will go is, we will go up and we will give one more character type called as choice. I come back here and maybe somewhere in my program, that is my first number, operator, second number, and after printing that, after the switch statement, maybe I should ask the user to enter a choice also. So I'll give it like this. I'll give it as printf. Maybe I'll ask the user, do you want to continue? Continue. I'll ask the user to enter y or n, right? And the user might enter a value. So I'll take it as again, since I'm using a percentage %c, I'm going to give a space here. So hope you already know why we are using this ampersand and choice. So why are we doing it here? So after this first step of calculation, I'm again asking with the user, do you want to continue? If the user is pressing yes, then I have to continue again asking with the user to enter the first number, second number and all those things, the user is telling no, then I have to close this, right? So now after coming out of this particular do while, here I can give a condition here. So I'm giving if the choice equal to y, can be either small letter y or the user might give a capital letter Y also. So at any of these cases my program has to again execute. So that's why I had given here do while so choice equal to y or choice equal to y, either capital letter or small letter. So when if the user is entering y, then this has to keep on continuing. At any point in time user enters anything other than y, it should come out. Okay, so we'll just see whether it is working fine or not. I'll just save, I'll close, I'll come back to my calculator, GCC calculator C space minus O space cal C. Okay, it's telling there is an error. So what's an error? It is telling comparison between pointer and integer. Okay, so I come back here. What I can do is maybe I'll just change this codes. Instead of double quotes, I'll use a single quote. I will save and run. Yes, so I got this. So dot slash cal C, it is asking enter the first number. I'm entering 10. I'm going to do an addition. Second number I'll give it as 20. I am getting 30. But what happened? This the do while has not worked properly, right? So we'll go back and see what mistake we have done here. Second we'll check starting with do. So all this statements will come here. So printf we have, I think we have made a small mistake. So this statement is supposed to come out of my switch case, right? So switch, this has to execute. After switch it has to ask for this. I think that's one mistake we have done, if I'm not wrong, because according to what we are given, what happens is only after default, that is it comes under default, only if in a default case these two statements was getting executed. So we have missed out a bracket. So after the switch case, that is once this any of these operations is done, once it comes out of that, it should ask do you want to continue. If you are telling y, then it should again repeat it. So we'll save and check it whether it is working or not. So I'll go to my GCC command, I'll go to dot slash cal C. So my first number is 10. I'm going to do an addition 20, 30. Yes, so it's asking do you want to continue. I'll give a y. Oh cool, it's asking for the first number again, so I'll give 10. I'll give minus, I'll check with 5. Giving 10 minus 5 is equal to 5. Do you want to continue? Okay, let's check with all the conditions. So I'll give 10. I want to multiply it again with the 10. So I'm getting 10 into 10 is 100. Okay, do you want to continue? Yes, I'll continue. Let me check with one more case. 10, I'm going to give a division. I'm going to give a 0. It is telling error, division by 0. Cool. Again I'll continue. I'll check for the proper division. 10 by 5, it's giving it as 2. So next I'll enter n, it's coming back. Cool. So I think you have understood this particular code. So if you want to see the algorithm or the flowchart, you can check in the description. It is always available, and in the next video we'll come with the new program and we'll see how it works. Thank you.